I found this story where it shouldn't have been, and once you hear it, it doesn't let go. How the same customer kept coming back every hour. A man walked into my gas station at exactly 1:07 a.m. He bought a bottle of water and stared at me like he was trying to memorize my face. I remember the time because the microwave clock above the hot food flickered to 1:07, the exact moment the door chimed. He wore a dark jacket, wet jeans, and a black cap pulled low over his eyes. He didn't say hello, didn't answer when I told him the total. He just slid a $5 bill across the counter and kept staring until I handed him his change. Then he left. I watched him through the front window as he stepped out under the canopy lights and disappeared past Pump 3, not into a car, not down the road, just into the dark. I'm Mr. D, and you are listening to Mr. D Stories. Most of you listening to my stories are not subscribed yet, so please like and subscribe to hear more from Bloody Chapter, because at 2:07 a.m. the same man came back, bought the same bottle of water, and stared at me the same way. By the third visit, I knew something was wrong. Same time, same bottle, same silence. This time, when he left, I grabbed the flashlight from under the register and rushed outside. The lot was empty. No car, no footsteps, nothing except my own sedan, a semi at the diesel pump, and the buzz of the lights above me. I walked around the side of the building and stopped cold when I saw the back stockroom door hanging open. Just a crack. My manager, Daryl, had warned me about that door during training, twice. Don't open the back stockroom for anybody. I stood there listening. Somewhere out on the highway, a truck passed. Then from behind the stockroom door came a soft sound, plastic crinkling, like someone squeezing a water bottle. I backed away and hurried inside. I called Daryl. No answer. I texted him. Weird customer. Think someone is in stockroom. Call me. At 4:07 a.m., the man came back again. This time he looked worse. His jacket was wetter, his face looked hollow, and his cap was gone. He grabbed another bottle of water and set it on the counter. I didn't even ring it up. Who are you? I asked. He stared. Then he slowly raised one finger and pointed over my shoulder. I turned toward the security monitor above the cigarette wall. One screen showed the back hallway leading to the stockroom. The door was open wider now, and just before the camera burst into static, I saw another figure standing deeper in the darkness, taller than him. When I turned back, the man at my counter was gone. No door chime. No footsteps, just the bottle of water sitting there. Then my phone buzzed. Daryl had finally texted back. Don't go in stockroom. Call police if needed. Thought they cleaned that out. I called him right away. He answered, sounding wide awake now. I told him everything, and after a long silence, he asked one question. Did he buy water every time? I said yes. Then Daryl told me about a drifter named Nolan. The year before I started working there, Nolan had been found living in the crawl space above the stockroom, stealing snacks, drinking bottled water, and sleeping in the ceiling insulation. The police were called, but before they got there, Nolan disappeared. Since then, a few overnight workers claimed they'd seen him again, always. Late at night, always buying water. Daryl told me to lock the front door, leave the till, get in my car, and drive away. I would have, but then I looked up at the monitor again. The stockroom door opened all the way. Slowly, a pale hand wrapped around the frame, then another. Then the same man leaned into view from inside the room, smiling now. I dropped my phone. I should have run. Instead, I grabbed the flashlight and the aluminum bat we kept under the counter and walked toward the back hall. The stockroom smelled like mildew, dust, and something rotten. Water bottles were scattered all over the floor, some crushed, some half empty, some with bite marks in the caps. In the corner was a nest made from blankets, wrappers, old uniforms, and newspaper clippings. Most of the clippings were about missing people from roads and highways nearby, and taped in the middle of the wall was a printed photo of me, a still shot from the security camera above the register. Something creaked overhead. I lifted the flashlight. The ceiling hatch was open. A drop of water hit my cheek. Then I heard breathing. Above me, slow, calm, waiting. Then a thin voice floated down from the darkness. You didn't drink yours. I ran. I bolted out of the stockroom, slammed into a shelf, and sprinted back to the front counter. I hit the silent alarm and ducked behind the register, shaking so hard I could barely breathe. Then I saw him again, standing at the end of aisle 3. Still holding a bottle of water, behind him, deeper in the dark hallway, another larger shape moved and disappeared. Maybe Nolan had never been alone. The man stopped halfway to the counter and whispered, "Every hour." Until someone notices. Then police lights flashed across the front windows. I looked toward the glass for 1 second. When I looked back, he was gone. The police found the nest, the bottles, the clippings, the photo of me, and the crawl space above the stockroom. They found proof someone had been living there for a long time, but they never found Nolan, and they never found whoever that second figure was. Daryl sold the gas station a few months later. The new owners renovated everything, and reopened like nothing had ever happened. I quit before that, but last winter, during a snowstorm, I stopped there one last time because my tank was almost empty. The place looked cleaner, brighter, newer. I told myself it was finally over. Then I reached into the cooler for a bottle of water and saw something scratched into the metal behind the second shelf. 107-207. 307-407, and under the Times, in shaky letters, "Still here." Thanks for watching. Welcome to a tale of unsettling mystery, where the mundane turns menacing. Tonight, we delve into the chilling secret of an abandoned bathroom, a place where silence speaks volumes and shadows hide untold horrors. For weeks, the men's bathroom at the old convenience store had been marked out of order, a simple sign, yet it concealed a growing dread that would soon consume my nights. My manager's instructions were clear: never open it. The plumbing's destroyed, and corporate hasn't approved repairs. It seemed straightforward enough, just another broken fixture in a forgotten corner. My shifts were long, monotonous, filled with the hum of fluorescent lights and the occasional late-night customer. The bathroom was just a silent, locked presence, easily ignored. But then the complaints began. Customers, their faces etched with unease, would whisper about strange sounds emanating from behind that locked door. Movement, they said. At first, I dismissed it. Old buildings creak, pipes groan, rats scurry. It was easy to rationalize, to blame the cold, the age of the structure, anything but what they implied. But then I started hearing it too, faint, almost imperceptible at first, but undeniably there. A metallic creak, a distant drip, sounds that shouldn't exist in an abandoned room. One night, around a.m., a distinct toilet flush echoed through the silent store. My heart pounded. It was too clear, too real to be a pipe or a rat. I froze, listening. Another time, a brief, buzzing sound, like a hand dryer sputtering to life for a split second, then dying. It was enough to send a shiver down my spine, confirming my growing dread. And then the knocking, faint, rhythmic, from the other side of the locked door. Not a banging, but a deliberate, almost polite tap, tap, tap. Someone was in there. The store became a place of constant vigilance. Every shadow, every creak, every distant sound made me jump. The bathroom, once ignored, now dominated my thoughts. One particularly desolate night, the silence was heavy, suffocating. I was alone, counting the register, the only sound the soft click of keys and the rustle of bills. Then a subtle movement caught my eye, a sliver of white sliding from beneath the bathroom door. My breath hitched. It was a folded receipt, pushed through the gap. My hand trembled as I reached for it, the paper feeling cold and alien. Every instinct screamed at me to leave it, but curiosity, or perhaps dread, compelled me. I unfolded it, my eyes scanning the hastily scrawled words. 3 words that instantly turned my fear into a cold, hard terror. He is not gone. The words echoed in my mind, a chilling pronouncement. Was someone trapped inside, hiding? Or was this a warning, a cryptic message about something far more sinister? Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. My days were spent in a frantic search for answers, poring over old employee records, dusty archives, anything that could shed light on the mystery. I stumbled upon an old newspaper clipping, yellowed with age. A robbery months ago at this very store, and a former employee vanished without a trace after the incident. The pieces began to click into place, forming a horrifying picture. The manager's strict warning, the destroyed plumbing, it was all a cover-up. The bathroom wasn't just out of order. It was sealed, a prison. But how could someone get in and out without being seen? The answer lay above. A maintenance hatch hidden in the ceiling of the bathroom. A secret entry point used by someone who knew the building intimately. The vanished employee. He hadn't vanished. He had been here all along, a ghost in the plumbing, a prisoner in plain sight, or perhaps something far more sinister, lurking in the shadows. The realization sent a cold wave of terror through me. The sounds, the note, it wasn't just a prank. It was a desperate plea, or a chilling message from the unseen. I was alone again, the store quiet, the fluorescent lights buzzing their monotonous tune. Every shadow seemed to stretch, every creak amplified in the oppressive silence. My gaze was fixed on the bathroom door, a silent challenge. I knew what was behind it now, or at least I thought I did, but knowing didn't lessen the fear. A subtle shift, a faint, almost imperceptible click. My blood ran cold. The locked door, the one that had been sealed for weeks, slowly, silently, unlocked from the inside. A tiny crack appeared between the door and the frame, a sliver of deeper darkness. It wasn't opening, not yet, but the barrier was gone. The presence was free. My breath caught in my throat. My heart hammered against my ribs. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. All I could do was stare, paralyzed by the ultimate horror. The door remained ajar, a silent invitation. The store was no longer just a store. It was a trap, and I was caught. The unknown had finally stepped out of the shadows. The chilling secret of the abandoned bathroom had finally revealed itself, and I was left to wonder what truly lurked behind that door and what would happen next. Another graveyard shift at the gas station. Pre-dawn, the world felt asleep, except for me and the flickering fluorescent lights. The silence hummed, broken only by the distant highway. It was a routine I knew well, a lonely vigil. Then, a rumble. A massive 18-wheeler pulled into the lot, its headlights cutting through the gloom. My only customer for hours. A man emerged, tall and broad, walking with a calm, deliberate pace towards the counter. He had a polite, almost friendly smile. Nothing seemed out of place, yet an immediate unease settled over me. He reached the counter. Before I could ask, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "Evening, narrator's name." My blood ran cold. How did he know my name? I hadn't seen him before. My mind raced, searching for an explanation. He just stood there, that unsettling smile widening slightly, clearly enjoying the fear that must have been etched on my face. Then he started talking, casually mentioning details about my life, my shift ending at AM, the road I took home. He even knew I checked the back door when I got nervous. My heart pounded. This wasn't a coincidence. I tried to convince myself it was a bluff, a cruel joke, but the cold certainty in his eyes told a different story. Then he slid something across the counter, a photograph. My breath hitched. It was my car, parked outside my apartment. Taken that very morning. The world tilted. He hadn't just seen me. He had been following me for days, from station to station along the highway. The realization hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't a customer. This was a predator. Panic surged. I had to get out. I had to escape. Every instinct screamed at me to run. I bolted, fumbling for the lock on the main door. My hands trembled. adrenaline coursing through my veins. Behind me, I could feel his presence, silent, watching. I didn't dare look back. Finally, the click. The door was locked. I leaned against it, gasping for air, my heart hammering. I peered through the glass. He was gone. The truck was still there, but the man had vanished into the pre-dawn gloom. Frantically, I grabbed the phone, my fingers clumsy as I dialed the police. Every shadow seemed to move. I tried to explain, my voice shaking, the words tumbling out. They promised to send someone. A wave of relief washed over me, quickly replaced by a chilling thought. Where did he go? The silence returned, heavier this time, pregnant with dread. I was alone, but I didn't feel safe. Then, a crackle. The delivery radio behind the counter, usually silent at this hour, sputtered to life. A voice, distorted but unmistakable, filled the small space. It was him, the trucker, and then the words that froze me to the bone. See you after your shift. The radio went silent, but the threat lingered, a cold, invisible hand gripping my throat. My shift wasn't over, and he was still out there, waiting. The night had just begun. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to Bloody Chapter for more stories that follow you home after the screen goes dark.